Hello everyone! We've discussed the Warlords, but as you can imagine there will be more characters, both on Warlords of Draenor and characters who are going to come with us from our time. They've already confirmed a couple of them and we're going to discuss their general background, but I can't explain everything because we will be here all day. I'm just going to let you know a few key elements behind a character, and after that they'll get their own video and their own story. Let's see how far we can go, shall we? Garrosh Hellscream from our time is of course going to be on this Warlords of Draenor, because he's going to set these events in motion. Our Garrosh didn't fight with the first horde because he was sick. In the Burning Crusade, Thrall found him and told him about his father and the horde on Azeroth. Garrosh travels back with Thrall after hearing these amazing stories, but seeing this new horde confuses him. Trolls? Blood Elves? Democracy? Are you kidding me? And about this alliance, why aren't you conquering them? Thrall places him in charge and Garrosh tries to reform the horde to his vision as he knew it from the old days, and as we all know, he got his butt kicked after the siege. Now he's going back in time, back to the time period of these legendary orcs of old. But will they be as he remembers them? Will his fantasy of this old horde become a reality? They've explained that although he is part of the story and he is going to set things in motion, he's not the main guy. There is a guy behind the guy and they've confirmed that he won't be the end boss. He is going to be used to tell the story, but he won't be the main guy as we saw in Mist of Pandaria. Someone in the Q&A asked if they will deal with the similarities between Garrosh and Grom their story.
Step aside, Pandaren. You confront a force beyond reckoning. Your father dabbled in powers beyond reckoning. Where is he now?
And they said it will get its part, that it will be a satisfying ending for both Garrosh and the players, but that he will not get a redemption story. Thrall from our time is going to come with us to this Warlords of Draenor. Our Thrall lost his parents, was found by Blackmoor and raised to be a gladiator with the end goal of Thrall leading the orcs for Blackmoor against the Alliance. Thrall escapes, meets Grom, meets Drek'Thar, meets the Frostwolves and even meets Doomhammer. He learns about the shamanistic ways of his people and he frees the orcs from their internment camps. In this battle, Doomhammer is killed and he gives his armor, his legendary weapon Doomhammer and the title of Warchief to Thrall. Thrall creates a home for his people, allows other races into the horde, teams up with humans and night elves against the Burning Legion, and in the Cataclysm he gives the title of Warchief to Garrosh to focus on his shamanistic side and team up with the aspects against Deathwing. He also met the love of his life Aggra and they even had a child together. He becomes the leader of the Earthen Ring and they try to heal the damage Deathwing caused to the world. When things took a turn for the worst, Thrall showed up to kick Garrosh out of the mantle of Warchief. Or at least he tried to do so. Once the deed was done, he did not take the title himself. Instead he gave it to Vol'jin and said that he would follow Vol'jin wherever he would lead them.
From this day forward, Vol'jin, if you lead, I will follow.
From that end cinematic, I assumed that Thrall would become the orcish racial leader, but they've said that it isn't sure yet. Chris Metzen himself said that if it was up to a vote, he would give that role to someone like Sourfang or Eitrigg. You would imagine that after the Cataclysm, an entire expansion dedicated to Thrall's journey into becoming this uber shaman and even a family man, that he would be done. That he would take his place at Aggra and his son's side and enjoy their retirement. Unfortunately, they can't let Thrall go just yet. They're going to place him back into the armor and send him off to Warlords of Draenor to see what the orcs were truly like back in the day. Thrall has only heard stories about them and he only met the orcs after their corruption and defeat. He's going to meet his father and mother in their prime. He's going to meet the rest of his family, uncles, aunts, all that kind of good stuff. He's going to find out what the original horde was all about and figure out where he comes from. Judging by Thrall's complete story, which we don't have the time to go into right now, he is going to get a rude wake-up call. Thrall is unique amongst the orcs. He is an orc, but also very much a human, which is completely different than where the horde and the orcs started out from. They explained that they didn't like where Thrall is at the moment, as in shamanistic, happy family Thrall. They want to place him back into the armor and solve lots of problems with his hammer. It's going to be fun to see how Thrall's going to explain why he's green. Remember that on this Warlords of Draenor, the only one with a green color is Gul'dan, possibly his crew, and Gul'dan tried to corrupt all the other orcs. but Garrosh prevented that. As far as I understand it, Garrosh and Thrall are not going to tell them that they are their children from the future, so I wonder how he's going to explain all these green orcs. I'm most excited to see how Thrall's going to react to Gul'dan. If anyone remembers the Cataclysm quest where Thrall splits up into the elements, he hasn't exactly forgiven what Gul'dan did to his people.
My parents, murdered before I could know them, betrayed. Gul'dan, if I must burn my way across the afterlife, I will find you in whatever hell you've hidden. I will have my revenge. Do you hear me?
Thrall's shamanism, and shamanism in general, is also going to play a role in the expansion. These orcish shamans from Draenor are the real deal. It's a big part of their culture. They want to make it more mythical and diverse, because now it's pretty much all about the elements and elemental lore. For example, they want to make it more diverse by making one clan very primal, the other very spiritual, the other out of their minds and cutting out their own eyes to receive visions. They want to make it more mythical by, for example, Ner'zhul goes to talk to the western wind, instead of just an element that you can actually see in front of him. By the way, Drek'Thar, the shaman who taught Thrall all about shamanism on Azeroth, is going to play a role in the story, and you are going to see him go blind. And for those wondering, Aggra and even Thrall's son are not going to come with him, although it has stirred up some controversy about female heroes, and they might reverse that decision. If we look at Draka, Thrall's mother, she was one hell of a badass. When Thrall's father stood up and walked to Orgrim Doomhammer to tell him about Gul'dan's betrayal, he wanted Draka to stay behind with her child. She scratched his face and spit in it and told him that she was Draka and she would stand at his side no matter what. And Durotan thought to himself that there was no orc luckier to have found such a beautiful specimen of orcish woman. And now they've decided to turn Aggra into this stay-at-home mom, and that goes against the orcish ways, that goes against the orcish females, and especially Aggra, because she is no pushover. So hopefully they will reverse this decision and they will give her a role in the expansion. Would be lovely. On the Alliance side, we're going to see the Draenei in their prime. The Draenei were pretty much living in their own bubble on this savage planet, but with the rise of the Iron Horde, their bubble is going to be shattered. We're going to see the Draenei at their crucial turning point with all these Naru, outlandish buildings and technology from outer space and really beautiful places. We got a glimpse of that of course in the Burning Crusade, but that was after the Horde already had their way. That was after the world was corrupted and destroyed. Now these Draenei are going to be exposed to this savage world, and the question becomes, do they become savages themselves or will they come together? What made these Draenei tick, and how will our Draenei respond to reliving this nightmare? In the trailer we can see Velen the Prophet, but the question is, which Velen are they going to use? The description on the website says the following. Velen's guidance persevered his people during an exodus from their homeworld Argus, but his wisdom is in question after the arrival of the Iron Horde on Draenor. What value is a prophet whose visions cannot prevent calamity? This makes me believe that we're going to see Velen of the Iron Horde Draenor, and from the trailer and the starting area that you could test at BlizzCon, it seems like Velen has a much more active role. Our Velen was always told to stay alive, don't get yourself killed, because you're going to get through this. You're going to make it one day and create the army of light ready to stand against the darkness. It seems that this time that isn't a problem, and it makes me believe that Velen knows something is up. He knows that this is not the way things are supposed to go down, and he's now taking a more active role in the defense of his people. A Velen who's actually going to fight will be quite the sight to behold, because this man is ancient, he is very attuned to the light, and he should be incredibly powerful. This is just my interpretation though. For all we know, we might see our Velen. For all we know, Velen still won't do anything. This is just my interpretation. Another Draenei that we're going to see in the Alliance starting area will be Akama. But not the Akama that you and I know. This Iron Horde Akama will not be a broken, he will be a full-fledged Draenei before they devolved. Our Akama was left behind to defend Karabor, the Black Temple, and, well, I'll just let Akama describe his journey.
I remember the temple as it used to be, a place of worship. I prayed within its chambers and meditated among its gardens. I was happy then, at peace. I remember too the day the orcs came. terrified women and children huddled in darkened corners. I led many to safety, but many more paid the ultimate price. That day, my beloved sanctuary became the Black Temple. There, the Orc warlords practiced a twisted magic that corrupted the land and nearly destroyed us all.
Do not do this, Gul'dan. Bear witness to the undeniable power of our Dark Master. He will destroy us all.
Even after the Horde's reckless sorcery tore the planet apart, my people were unable to find a lasting sanctuary. I remember the armies of demons that swept down on us like a plague. During these dark times, the one called Megtheridon made the temple his home. Then came Yrel, the one they call the Betrayer, the enemy of my enemy.
Megtheridon lures scores of hapless demons through them daily.
Then we must seal them permanently.
We helped him seal the portals of Outland and cut off the Legion's reinforcements. We fought with renewed strength, and together we reclaimed our sacred ground. I think part of me knew, even then, that the Black Temple had only traded one evil master for another. I prefer to remember the temple as it used to be, not the abomination it has become. My soul bears the burden of my misjudgment.
Now we get the chance to see the temple that he remembers, defend it against this Iron Horde, and make sure that it never falls into ruin. One completely new Draenei that they've introduced from this Iron Horde Draenor is named Yrel. In our timeline, Yrel never made it into the story, so she's completely new and they described her as a Joan of Arc type of character. I believe that means she's going to be one of the ordinary people, but circumstances drive her to be extraordinary, sacrificing herself for the greater good of her people, and they also dropped that she would be a mega level Alliance champion. I hope so. Would be great to see a Draenei step up to the plate. Although, as far as I remember, Joan of Arc didn't really have a happy ending. From our time period, Vindicator Maraad is going to come with us. Some of you might wonder, who the hell is Maraad? And with very good reason, because Maraad hasn't really done anything in-game. If you remember the Burning Crusade cinematic, the Draenei shown is Maraad. If you check out the flying ship in Icecrown, you'll see Maraad standing there. In the comics, he did get a part in the story of Medan. For those unaware, and once again with very good reasons, Medan is the son of Medivh and Garona, and most will know Medivh as the Prophet from Warcraft 3. Medivh was also the last Guardian, but his son Medan now has that job. In this comic, Maraad is the one who teaches Medan how to wield the light, and he's part of the new council of Tirisfal. However, Medan and all of his story has never been implemented into the game, never even mentioned as far as I know, so it brings up the question if you can consider it to be really part of the story. Nonetheless, one interesting thing to come out of this comic is that Maraad is the great uncle of Medan, and that makes him the uncle of Garona and brother of her mother. Garona half Orcan, she's half Orc, half Draenei, and Gul'dan from our time forced Draenei and Orc to mate in order to create her. In other words, a child born out of rape. So this Maraad, who has witnessed the Horde slaughtering his people, who has found Garona and Medan, has had to live with his sister and her fate, now he gets a chance to make things right. To prevent this Iron Horde to do to his people what our Horde has done. And for Blizzard a second chance to actually give this guy some story. Hopefully with a reunion with his sister and some badass revenge on Gul'dan. Possibly even teaming up with Garona and Thrall to get that revenge. Someone on Twitter asked if it could be possible that this Yrel character is the sister of Marad. And I don't remember them ever giving a name to his sister, so it could be very possible that this Yrel character is the sister of Marad. Time will tell. I hope I got you interested in Garrona, because that's what we're going to talk about next video. We still have a ton of characters to cover, so plenty of stories still left to talk about. For now, thank you very much for watching everyone. Subscribe if you like my videos. And until next time guys, see ya!
Our bond is iron. Our will unbreakable. Who will stand against us?